based around that because I was sitting there thinking like, damn, they ain't portray a lot of these characters as well as they should have portrayed them. You feel me? Right. So it made me look at it like, why they lie like that? Why they just ain't tell what some of them did or who they really was or how they was coming.
True.
So it made me want to tap into that, the cowboys and the cowgirls of the West, because they leave the cowgirls out, you feel me?
Right.
Only reason they was called cowboys or cowgirls because it was a derogatory term. Like, you were a white man, you feel me, whether young or old, would call another black man or black woman, young or old, that's herding cows, a cowgirl or a cowboy. You feel
say
me?
Boy, you know, they call it, oh, hey, boy.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Just like
cowboy.
Just like at a point in time, everybody had the name. What was it? It was a certain name that they used to call all of the porters on the train. It was Brown. You feel me? Everybody was called Brown on the train because that meant you was a porter. You feel me?
Word.
So they was all porters. So it's just like that. Like it's like, but why they make the story like that? Make it seem like some of these characters was that old when they was doing this shit or this type of shit was going on.
Or wasn't doing what they was doing.
You feel me?
Like
yeah.
They wasn't even with the wild shit. They was doing some old
you feel
something
me?
else, something totally different.
Yeah, it's like why they lie about that. You feel me? The more they hide from us. Cause like I said, we going straight to the Wild Wild West on this one.
Okay.
Tonight we gonna talk about, it's titled "The More They Hide, the Further We Fall." As we take a glance into the life of a cowboy, that's black cowboys and girls, that is, of the 17th, 18th century. And we'll tap into how the West was won, you feel me? And we going straight to the Wild Wild West on this trip, you feel me? We'll also see a documentary from Dane Calloway, who's a phenomenal researcher, a heritage of this land and the identity of our people. And a quick clip of Sammy Davis Jr. showing off his gunslinging tricks as in his cowboy attire, because he was inspired.
Say that again, who? For the people?
Davis?
Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis Jr. is a cowboy.
Yeah, showing off his cowboy tricks with the gun on stage, how
Word.
smooth he was, pulling it in and out the hole. Like, he was quick with it, you feel me?
Word.
He got his own gun and everything. Like, for instance, we could show people now, like, Sammy and his cowboy attire, you feel me? Like,
right here. They got his shit tagged.
yeah, see?
That's probably like, yeah.
Sammy and his cowboy attire, feel me?
Okay,
That's his gun right here.
Yeah.
Oh, let me pull that up
Sammy.
on mine.
Sammy and his cowboy attire, you feel me?
It's right here.
Sam, man.
And then Sammy got his gun.
That's
feel me?
Sammy, boy. Yeah, that's Sammy. Show him.
Yeah.
That's Sammy.
Word.
Fuck.
Sammy Davis Jr., you know what I'm saying?
So
Boy,
he,
it's little as fuck, boy.
so he wasn't just
that shit was drooping, boy.
normal tap dancer. He had a lot of history with him as well.
Tap you on the head too. You know what I'm saying?
That's what was
Go ahead
good.
and play.
Feel me? But yeah,
Wow, was good, Brody.
let me show you a couple more clips about this land and what took place a little bit. You know, the Aboriginals of this land, because that's the problem. That's the problem. They don't realize that, you feel me? Like, the true Indians or the true identity of the Indians was us. Like, for instance, when most of these cowboys came across Indians, they always said that the Indians was mixed with people that came from Asia over into Mexico, and the Mexicans that mixed in with the colored folks that been on this land.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? So they already knew who the real Indians was, the color folks, because before European ever came over here, that ideology or that culture came to these shores, we was already here 40,000, probably even more than that.
Yeah,
before they
building
high civilizations over here. That's why they know that it's so much vast, like, artifacts and relics and information they could find over here that predate shit in Africa and all of that type of shit as well too. So they know this over here in this land is just as elaborate as it is anywhere else. So we're gonna get into a lot of stuff tonight about this. You feel me? The West, the North America,
Right.
the cowboys, black cowgirls.
Original black cowboys and black
How they
cowgirls.
was
That's crazy.
millionaires, everything.
In the 1800s and 1900s.
So let's get this official intro. Hold on. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Nevasoba 365. Tap in.
man.
Volume. Turn up.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Nevasoba 365.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe, like and subscribe. Good looking, appreciate it.
They can still call up too, right?
Yeah, you can still call up.
Yes, sir.
You can still call up.
Tap in, call up.
There you go.
Nevasoba 365 podcast.
Rico got that vibe, got that. Tell me what we fighting for. Tell me what we dying for. I can never pinpoint when you fall into that rabbit hole. Just know it's no end point. Tomorrow ain't for certain. I've been doing soul searching, trying to find an overall purpose. Answers that tell me that life worth this cancer that clogged the earth's surface. I'm not nervous, just cautious about some shit. Love me how I come or get away from me. My old head says she gon' pray for me. I've been on the grind for 21 years. Fall, winter, spring, summertime, I was out there. Me and my outcasts like Andre. Few hundreds spent on an entree. Re-up on a major play. If they don't love me, they gon' hate me. A smooth criminal, watch how I shake them. All off, assalamu alaikum, cause the war on. So get your war paint, walk on. In the valley of the concrete jungle, you'll be lying in the dirt if you don't rumble. I'm pot roast off the gumbo, snot nosing when I'm tussing. Keep up with the Joneses, ain't in my structure. Hail Mary, better be a touchdown. Might spend 20K just for a bust down. Hyped up, rejuvenated, crib looking renovated. Don't believe these characters seem real animated. Make you grow fast, can't blame the past. Gotta keep trucking, something out of nothing. So we have a field stat, off with the running. Run the money up, store it up, keep stunting. Pop champagne, PNB campaign. Stack of star mixtapes. Was good, big bro. I'm just trying to shake my older habits. Remember days we were post with Maddox. It was roll up, jokes and Maddox. Now it's roll up, post and blast. Close range, make sure you close the casket. All cause a nigga post the status. Dealing with death, the stress was post-traumatic. Motion picture shit, I remember it. Shit, it's photographic. Send a prayer to the homie static. I'm still saying why they murder Savage. Shit, yeah, way before link in the bio. Bitch, I wasn't linking to bio. Still trying to duck the nutrition in 5-0. Smoking 9-5, Mickey got me high as the Cosmo. Money go for bitches.
Damn. Wait. Before we get started, I gotta play another cut real quick before we get into it. You know this Nevasoba 365.
Hey, Buzz, we gotta get you through here, big bro.
Yeah.
I see what kind of
All
weed
that
you on,
shit.
man.
All that shit.
What up?
You ready?
Something a little different. I won't hesitate. I'm from Oakwood.
Oakwood forever, man.
Huh? Oakwood forever.
Yeah. I left the Henny in the car, man. I'm about to go get it.
Huh?
Get it going, man. Cock the 40, I'ma pop that shit. I won't hesitate. I'm from Oakwood where we know them bricks. Talking heavyweight. Niggas, talking heavyweight. Niggas, talking heavyweight. Cop that 40, I'ma pop that shit. I won't hesitate. I'm from Oakwood where we move them bricks. Talking heavyweight. Niggas, hey. Talking heavyweight. If I slide, it's a homicide. Leave you traumatized. It's authorized. Don't you be surprised. I won't be denied. I can't even lie. These niggas ain't even fine. Yeah, they mad we going wheels. They so tight, moving weight like a fat bitch. I be on that strap shit. You be getting clapped shit. Get the point, cactus. Travel across the atlas. Bad bitches slam them to the mattress. Double pack of magnums. And I brought the cannon for the lights, camera action. My charges, I have maxed them. Fuck it, I'll be back, son. Money satisfaction. Talking transactions. I won't hesitate. I'm from Oakwood where we move them bricks. Talking heavyweight. Nigga, what you say? Talking heavyweight. Nigga, 230, nigga. Heavyweight, 350, 40, I'ma pop that shit. I won't hesitate. I'm from Oakwood where we move them bricks. Talking
some
Guys,
shit.
man.
Absolutely.
Damn, you know the vibes. Nevasoba 365. I'm your guy. Got the Rolling Nation in here with me, Olympic Rollers.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, yo, we gonna stop beefing over this Olympic Rollers and Rolling Nation shit,
Man,
bro.
fuck,
You feel me, bro?
man. It's the nation.
It's Olympic Rollers or Rolling Olympic, however you want to do it.
It's the nation.
Olympic
The
Rollers,
nation.
man.
Olympic rollers.
Nah, we
It's always
roll the
been that.
nation.
Rolling Nation.
Nah.
Nation.
I flip a coin, man. Fuck it.
Flip it right now.
What?
Flip
What?
a coin.
You flip it.
right
Yeah.
You
now.
got a quarter,
I'm
man.
Olympic.
got a
You
coin
always
on
get
me.
gold
You
medals.
got a quarter, man.
Whatever,
Look
nigga.
on my side.
It's
I
the
got-
nation. What you
Nah,
got?
nah.
Hold on.
Never know.
So
That was
heads.
heads
So what's
anyway.
heads? Heads Rolling Nation.
No, Olympic always.
So heads
We
Olympic.
always ahead,
Why?
bro.
Tails.
Gold
So
medal.
Tails.
Tails.
The
Yeah,
nation.
he wanted to be
Rolling
saying
Nation.
first, like.
Gold
Alright,
medal.
so look, I see it's no trick coins.
Yeah,
Got
I
the head
flip
to
it.
tell- I flip it.
Nah, we ain't,
I'll
you can't
flip it.
flip it. We don't
Nah,
know.
Y'all ready?
Nah, that
Yeah.
shit probably fake.
Flip it. Oh, it's heads.
Alright.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I do
Alright,
it.
so we go. Y'all know the vibes. Nevasoba 365.
Olympic
I got the Olympic Rollers in here. The Rolling Nation.
You feel me?
Yeah. You
Okay.
feel me? You feel
Yeah.
me?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Olympic.
Thanks.
But you know, if y'all was tuned in a little bit earlier when we was talking about, you know, we going straight to the Wild Wild West with this one.
Okay.
Talking about the more they hide, the further they fall. The further we fall, as we tap into look at the Cowboys and how they portrayed them in the movie that just came out on Netflix.
Harder they fall.
Harder they fall. You talking
Harder
about
they
that
fall.
movie on
Got-
Netflix?
Yeah.
I
Harder They
seen
Fall,
that.
okay.
Then I know what we're talking about.
Like that character, Rufus Buck. When they talk about Rufus Buck and they had Idris Elba play Rufus Buck,
Okay.
how old they made him seem and how he was and how he built the town and all of that stuff. Rufus Buck didn't build no town. You get what I'm saying? Like, we got to understand Rufus Buck was young.
Okay.
He was only 18.
Rufus.
He took his last breath at 18. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could turn the page and show the live who Rufus Buck is, like him and his gang.
Rufus Buck and them folks in the
So,
right here.
as I talk about Rufus Buck gang
Gang.
was an outlaw Indian gang whose members were Creek Indian. Their crime spree took place in the Indian territory of Arkansas, Oklahoma area around July 30th through August 4th of 1895.
Leo.
You see what I'm saying?
Leo shit.
The gang was founded on July 28th, 1895.
Leo.
They was
Go,
trapping
go,
in the
go,
sun.
go, go.
So his members of the gang was Rufus Buck, Louis Davis, Sam Sampson, Moma July, and Lucky Davis. Like, and their activities was armed robbery, murder, and rape. So formed by Rufus Buck, he formed the gang. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And he had a thing where he was going against white people, like because of what was going on. So he went on a spree, him and his gang, raping and killing white people for like 2 years. So the way they portray him in the movie of this guy building a town and all of this stuff and having his money was false. This boy was only 18. You can see they say the first time Rufus Buck killed somebody was what? After killing the U.S. Deputy Marshal John Garrett on July 30th, the gang been holding up various stores and ranches in the, you feel me?
Yeah, that was 2 days after they started the
You
game.
feel me?
Leo shit,
Whacked
bro.
them.
Leo
They was
shit,
tripping.
You feel me? He started going on a spree. And they said for the next 2 weeks, he went on a spree like that. You get what I'm saying? Killing people. And then it say at least 2 female victims who were raped by the gang died of their injuries. You get what I'm saying? So he was wilding. Like,
Yeah, they was tripping.
like, and he took his last breath because he got shot. You get what I'm saying?
And this the character that Idris Elba was
Yeah,
playing, right?
all of them got captured.
Buck.
All of them got captured after they doing it, did all of this them 2 weeks. All of them got captured and all got hung and shot.
Yeah,
and
they got.
everything.
Then they get hung together or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Sidebar. It's the reason why ain't no holidays in August. That's why I keep playing around. When I say Leo, It's a reason why ain't no holidays in August, but we'll get into
It's too
that.
fucking hot.
Another
That's why
day.
ain't no holidays.
Alright, yeah, it is hot. You're right.
You heard 50. Summertime is killing season.
Hot out this bitch.
It's a good enough reason.
Exactly. You feel me? So Rufus Buck, he was not how they portray him in the movie, old and all of that stuff.
As far
Now,
as his age, he was way younger in age.
now when we get to you could go ahead and read that one that you wanted to read, Relly. Which one was that?
Nat Love.
Yeah.
Nat Love was a former slave who went on to become one of the most criminal black men of the West. Love grew up in Tennessee, where he learned how to read and discovered that he really had a gift with horses. He traveled to Dodge City when he was a teenager and found cowboy work on the cattle drives. He became a crack in the ground, shot out the trail, and earned his original nickname, Red River Dick.
Damn, you crazy.
He later found himself in Deadwood, where he won a rodeo competition, when he earned the nickname Deadwood Dick.
Like, yeah, just say it like that. Narrated.
Yo, this is history.
Now,
Go ahead.
Nat Love is the one who was going at Rufus in the movie, who kills him in the end.
Oh, I bet.
And he say that because you was my brother and all of this stuff. Nat Love is really older than Rufus.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Tell about his picture. Right?
Rufus is only 18. So
It's reversed.
yeah, they made it in reverse. They got Nat Love being young and Rufus being old.
Yo, John Wayne did a copy of this shit too.
Facts.
Shout out to my grandfather.
So you see, Nat Love, he was into rodeo and all that stuff. So where he had time to go, killing and all of this stuff. As well, Nat Love supposed had got captured by Native Americans. Those was the Mexican ones mixed with the Asians, as well as the black ones from the land of that area being over there. Original.
They belong to an organization.
You feel me?
That gave him the privilege
Yeah.
to conduct that shit.
So he got captured.
Absolutely.
He got captured by them, but instead of killing him, they respected how he looked and everything and knew where he was from, his origins. They said he could marry the daughter and offer him 40 horses. The nigga ain't
Trial bring him to trial.
Yeah, he ain't want to do it. So in the middle of the night, he stole a horse and rode up into South Dakota and all that to become part of the rodeo and all of this stuff.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like he
had
right.
him in there on some
That's
killer.
crazy, right? The further north you get freedom, but
Yeah, he wanted to be a rodeo man. Instead, he could have had the tribal everything. You get what I'm saying? He would have had the horses, all that. He would have had the lady, but he escaped and said, "Fuck it, I want to do rodeo."
Right.
Now, that's Nat Love. The guy he was running with in the movie, Bass Reeves. That's who he was running with. Now, Bass Reeves, they really portray him as who he was, being a marshal.
Yeah, that
So
was the marshal.
he really was a marshal, and when he was in office, well, as a marshal, he locked up
Another
3,000
snake.
criminals, and they say 42 people died, with him trying to lock up people. So he killed 42
another
people,
snake.
and he got shot 14 times over the course of his career.
32-year career. That's crazy.
All limb shots.
Yeah. So like
Don't let me get into this
Bass
shit.
Reeves was truly who he was in that
Yes, sir.
movie.
And he locked up his
Yeah.
own
was.
son.
He played both sides.
Yeah, yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Look, so that was the guy that
That
The
Rufus
nigga,
beat
what's
up
the
in
old?
the movie.
Yeah.
He told him get out the town. or
No,
something like that.
No.
Bass
That was
Reeves is the
Dion.
one.
That's the nigga Dion played.
Yeah.
Nah.
Bass,
We talking about the marshal, like the nigga that came out with the wagon before it blew up.
yeah.
The dude that locked Rufus up.
Yeah,
he
that was the
fake
fry at
locked
the
him up.
beginning. Fake locked him up.
Fake locked him up.
Yeah. So
Played both sides.
that's Bass Reeves. Then you got
No disrespect, respectfully.
Then you got John Ware. John Ware was born into slavery in South Carolina and moved down to Texas after the Civil War. There he learned all his skills he needed to become a cowboy. He worked on cattle and drove from Texas all the way up to Canada and even helped boost the ranching industry in Alberta. You feel me? Alberta. Not only did he have his own ranch, but he also wooed crowds by performing in clergy staples. It's been rumored that he was never thrown from a horse. He went on to become one of the most respected men on the Canadian grounds, basically, of doing rodeo. Like, so he became a respected man from him doing rodeo and herding horses and never being thrown off a horse. And it was said that he rode 82 horses before he was like finally thrown off a horse, finally. Even bulls. Like, and he even got up there on one of the bulls that they couldn't control. It was called White Dog, something like that.
That sounds like one of the brothers on the dirt bikes in PA, right?
They tamed the bike.
I got a bro, like it took him like a couple months to learn how to ride a bike. And next time I see him, just
Yeah.
12 o'clock, you know what I'm saying?
Facts. You know that
That's
shit.
how horses today.
It's like some bikes have power that you gotta be able to tame. Some
And they
people,
tell you about a dirt bike, first
Yeah.
gear, pop your ass up.
So think about a nigga getting on a bull at that
Exactly.
time.
Don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and this
Thinking
bull,
that's a horse.
yeah, and it can't be controlled. And he finally get up on it, and they see him riding his bull. Now, what used to go on, the reason why a lot of the black rodeo performers didn't get seen in Texas was because after the white rodeo went on, they had the late night shows where they was doing like all the hardcore shit because the
Yeah.
black motherfuckers was stronger and could handle it.
Oh, we had rhythm. We know how to ride the
You feel me?
bull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So they saw when they saw got rumored that he rode the bull that nobody couldn't ride, and the white people of the town was so pissed off and mad that they didn't get to see it that they started petitioning for black people to be a part of the white rodeo.
During the daytime, like.
Cause they like, y'all skunkers are the best part of the
Yeah.
show. We wanted to see somebody finally ride this
Prime time.
bull,
Not to speak
and he
getting
rode
thrown
this
off
late
and
at
shit.
night. So now white riders had to ride late at night with them, like at least two. But the two white riders that had to do is start complaining, so they petitioned as well too for them to be inside the rodeo as well. So now you got black motherfuckers in the rodeo with the white motherfuckers, but the black people had their own shit going on. We gonna get to the women too.
No, I ain't speeding up. I got you.
Cherokee Bill. Of course, Cherokee Bill has.
Cherokee Bill. Shout out to Wild Bill, yo. That's Cherokee
You feel
Bill.
me?
Boy, read that.
Of course, Cherokee Bill. Of course, Cherokee Bill can't have the Old West without outlaws. And Crawford, Cherokee Bill, Gipsy, was very bit ruthless as Jesse James or Billy the Kid, the son of Cherokee mother and African father, Buffalo Soldier. So
Original.
Yeah. So you see, Cherokee Bill father was a Buffalo Soldier
Against the Germans.
See his nose.
Yeah, and his mother was Cherokee, like, but she was a
Native.
Yeah, a native, not an aboriginal. Exactly, she was a native, not an aboriginal. Aboriginal is always us, copper tone, copper color. You get what I'm saying? She was a native, so that was a Mexican and an Asian mix coming across the Bering Strait.
Fact.
You feel me? So Cherokee Bill, his first murder took place at the age of 12. And he
Damn.
shot his brother-in-law. Like,
Doing an
He
argument
wasn't
over
blooded.
and they was arguing over dishes.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Who's washing the dishes? They shot out.
Yeah. And then he started shooting more people. And then by 18, he had to flee the town.
They was gonna hang
Yeah.
him.
They was
By
going to kill
12, He
him.
caught his first body over some dishes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Over
Straight
sun.
Chirac.
you hear me?
Wow, bro.
Over water.
Yo,
That's wild.
it's crazy, yo. Hey, Q, you can pull that clip up for me. We're going to go into this Dame Calloway clip so we can see with the movie. Hold on, let me give you the name of the clip.
Nevasoba 365, man. Y'all tap in, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Nevasoba 365. You crazy?
Yeah, go to the YouTube channel so you can be able to see this clip, because this clip we about to go into is Dame Calloway talking about the movie as well as what I'm telling you about these cowboys and everything. And they're going to give you a little insight of some more cowboys from the West. And then after that, I'm going to show you another clip of what Aboriginal is or who we really are as well. So go to the YouTube, Nevasoba 365.
While we know
Network.
that many of our ancestors did come in on.
Work on YouTube.
Yeah, type in network.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel.
Oh, auntie was in.
Go to that one next.
Crazy.
That. Show y'all this one. We'll go to that 'cause that-
Black Native Americans have been all but ignored in this country.
As you can clearly see right now, that was us.
Tap in on YouTube, Nevasoba 365 Network.
Word.
Network. Make sure you put network in
Yes, sir.
and subscribe.
Definitely hit that subscribe button.
True. That clip, it should be 16 minutes.
That should say 3 hours.
Yeah. Nah, but that one I'm a short when I play that one. Say the Cowboys were the real Indians of America.
And you gotta repeat, they was black.
The harder
Those
they fall.
Cowboys. Nat Turner. I said Nat Turner.
Nat Love.
Yeah, I was about to get deep. I was about to get West.
Should this military-grade Zulu
West Coast.
Why you think that's the most freedom
Yeah, this
hip hop
one.
speakers?
Alright.
They always talk about
So
outside,
look,
but
right?
the real
I need everybody to go to the YouTube if you want to see what I'm showing on the screen because you ain't gonna see it on IG.
lens be made illegal?
Right now.
This new gadget is basic.
But you ain't
To
gonna
watch all of my exclusive content not featured here on my channel, log on to my website at imjustheretomakeyouthink.com/films.
Feel me? Yeah, adventures, man. Yeah.
OCO everyone. Today, I just wanted to share with you some background information concerning this powerful movie called The Harder They Fall, which is a modernized version of a film.
Tell Zeke. Tell Zeke, yeah.
Alright.
Zeke,
Free Zeke, man.
He said, "What's up, bro?"
you already know it's
One
up.
moment, yeah.
Free job, man.
Because what I'm about to show y'all,
Easy.
y'all see on the screen, the harder they fall. So this it's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna show y'all. They're gonna talk a little bit about what I'm talking about. Talk about these Cowboys. You know, so you can get a real insight of who they really are.
Fictional American Western movie directed by James Samuel and executive produced by hip-hop pioneer Jay-Z. Now, even though this movie is fictional, most of the characters portrayed in this movie are real people, and this was right up Jay-Z's alley to produce due to his uprising as a child. Jay-Z has mentioned before that his father's love for the Cowboys lifestyle drove him to become a fan of the Dallas Cowboys football team, even though he was born and raised in the state of New York.
I grew up, my pop is really my pop for, you know.
That's
he
his
grew
name.
up, he grew up in, yeah, that era, that era, those guys who, you know, wanted that whole cowboy lifestyle.
Now, before I go any further, I want you to be aware that some of the information that I'll be presenting in this video could potentially spoil the plot of the movie. So if you haven't watched the movie just yet, then I suggest that you pause this video and go watch The Harder They Fall on Netflix. I highly recommend it, and I'll see you again once you've completed it. And by the way, no, this is not a sponsored video. I'm just simply appreciating the great content I watched personally and would love to share more information about it with you now. Now, I can confirm that 8 out of the 13 characters displayed in this movie are real people. Some were outlaws, some were lawmen, like sheriffs or mayors, and some were, of course, the real cowboys of the 19th century. Even though mainstream Western films of the 1920s and beyond gave the real Indians minor roles in their films, usually depicting them as comedic characters as a joke, while all of the cowboy roles were given to pale-skinned foreigners to be depicted as such, allowing for the next generations to come to believe that prominent cowboys of America were mainly of pale skin, when that is absolutely not true. The main protagonist of this movie was a famous cowboy by the name of Nat Love, but to some, he was known as Deadwood Dick, being as though he was a consistent rodeo winner of Deadwood, South Dakota. Nathaniel Love was a veteran cowpoke, a professional horse rider, and proficient gunslinger that could track down stampeding cattle and rope wild mustangs with ease. It was said that fear didn't exist in his blood due to his Cherokee heritage by way of his mother and father of Davidson County, Tennessee, where he was born and raised on his family's plantation in June of 1854. Now, it was said that he published his own book in 1907, in which he describes in detail his life as a cowboy. And on page 99 of this book, he describes being shot and wounded and captured by a band of Pima Indians, led by a man named Yellow Dog. He describes the Pima Indians as being, quote, composed largely of half-breeds and people of colored blood that eventually nursed him back to health. He shares that these Pima Indians respected his Indian heritage so much that they promised him 100 ponies in return if he joins the tribe and marry Yellow Dog's daughter. But after a month in captivity, he steals a pony and escapes 100 miles west in 12 hours. The main antagonist of this movie was a famous outlaw named Rufus Buck. Buck lived a rather short life due to his uprising as the leader of the Rufus Buck Gang of Oklahoma. Buck was born to 2 Creek Indian parents, and for this reason alone, it was said by Harvard Magazine that, quote, he dreamed that his gang spree would trigger an Indian uprising that would expel the illegal white majority and reclaim the whole territory for its native people, end quote. To many people, they were heroes, but the Rufus Buck Gang's violent redemption campaign abruptly ended after a total of 13 days, when all members were finally caught, tried, and hanged. Rufus Buck was living fast and died young, witnessing his last afternoon at just 18 years old in Fort Smith, Arkansas on June 1st, 1896.
Not long ago, Rita Levi Montalcini celebrated her 103rd birthday, and then during
The Harder They Fall also portrays another real-life pioneer named Jim Beckworth in the movie, but officially known as James Pearson Beckworth of Frederick County, Virginia. He was known as a mountaineer and a professionally skilled fighter, which earned him the nickname Bloody Arm, and he made his living as a fur trader, but was apprenticed as a blacksmith during his earlier years of life. He was born in April of 1798 to an American Indian mother and a white father. Rumor says that his father was his slave master that later freed him from slavery during his childhood in 1824. But what's not a rumor was the fact that he became the chief of the Crow Nation of Indians just a few years later, while respectively leading the Dog Clan for many years. He also married the daughter of another Crow chief prior to leaving her behind in order to volunteer with the United States Army to fight in the Second Seminole War in Florida in 1837. He details more about his life in his book, which was published nearly 20 years later in 1856, called The Life and Adventures of James P. Beckwourth, Mountaineer, Scout, and Pioneer, and Chief of the Crow Nation of Indians. Two other characters portrayed in this movie carry a rich history when it comes to the American West of the 19th century. So in this collaborative effort to present more information concerning this matter, I asked Texas' very own Chief Topcats to join me in presenting their background stories to you.
Now you're gonna hear
The gold I escalera goes to just on it.
Contrary to popular belief, slavery didn't arrive in Texas until 1822 with Moses Austin, succeeded by his son Stephen F. Austin, who would grant land to new settlers. They would become known as the Old 300. They would bribe and lobby politicians for legal slavery in Texas. It would be short-lived, as in 1829, Mexico's first black president, Vicente Guerrero, would outlaw slavery. A year later, it would be murdered. The new laws would attract many migrations to the state of Texas, and in 1836, the Battle of the Alamo. June 19, 1865, Galveston, Texas Major General Gordon Granger of the Union Army announced General Order No. 3. Slavery in the state of Texas had officially come to an end. After the Civil War, there was a growing demand for beef in the East. They would look to Texas for remedy. This would produce the cattle boom from Texas into Kansas. Famous Indian trails would blaze the path, such as the Chisholm Trail. One of the towns along the trail is an old Indian town, Pecos, Texas. It would produce the world's first rodeo on July the 4th, 1883. Rodeos were the Cowboys' Olympics. Skilled cattlemen would compete for bragging rights. Today, rodeo is the official sport of Texas.
Sick of sky-high heating bills every winter? This jet engineer just discovered how to heat homes for almost...
December the 5th, 1870, Willie Pickett was born. The second of 13 children to Thomas Jefferson Pickett and Miss Janie Mary Gilbert. The family were Cherokee Indians. From a small town in central Texas at the age of 5, Bill would develop the love for the culture. While working as a rancher, he developed a skill that would take him across the country and into American history: bulldogging. Cattlemen would steal the cattle by using bulldogs to trap them. Bill noticed the bulldogs would bite down on the upper lip of the bull, a technique that Bill would master as he would take the bull down by the steers. At the age of 18, he and his brothers would establish the Pickett Brothers, Bronco Busters, and Rough Riders Association. Everything cowboy, they had it. The cowboy lifestyle crossed their path with rancher Lee Moore, who witnessed Bill's daredevil stunts. He would begin to manage Bill and also bring his brothers along. Over time, the relationship would come to an end over disputes of business and money. In 1903, he met a hustler's hustler, Dave McClure, aka Mr. Cowboy. The two would take the rodeo world by storm cross country. Mr. Cowboy coined Bill the name, the Dusky Demon. March 1905, Fort Worth, Texas. At the North Central Texas Cattle and Railroad Center, every cowboy that was somebody would be there. He would put on the performance of his life. He would get a standing ovation from the crowd. One of the witnesses there to see the phenomenon was a gentleman from Bliss, Oklahoma, who took notice, Colonel Zach Miller, owner of the 101 Ranch Wild Wild West show. Bill would join the ranks of Buffalo Bill Cody, Tom Mix, Will Rogers, and others. He would tour the world in even motion pictures. The legendary cowboy days would come to an end. April the 2nd, 1932. He would die from head injuries after being kicked by a horse. His legacy lives on today, and the horse of cowboys and rodeos all over. Willie Bill Pickett, aka Dusky Demon, Cherokee Cowboy, legend of the Wild Wild West. 19th century. We close the chapter in American history of immigration, naturalization, colonialism, government, domestic enslavement, and wars, which ushered in the Second Great Awakening, Industrial Revolution, and U.S. expansion. From the 13 colonies to the ancient ancestral lands of the Southeast Indians. The fighting spirit, music, fishing, barbecue, soul food, cattle, livestock, and agriculture would make up the ingredients that would birth the new era of Indians, the cowboys. From 1811 Creek Civil Wars through the Seminole Wars that were leading to the 1829 Gold Rush of Georgia that were leading to the 1830 Indian Removal Act, resulting in the displacement of the Southeast Indian tribes. The U.S. would establish themselves in the West through military force and Indian scouts, attracted by their knowledge of the land, map making, scouting, building, interpreting. These would all serve purpose across the Mississippi and what would become known as Indian Territory, aka the Wild Wild West. During the Civil War, the Militia Act of 1862 would create the USCT, United States Colored Troops. After the war, the military would close the program. And on July the 28th, 1866, the Army Reorganization Act passed. 6 units, 2 cavalry, 4 infantry regiments would form the legendary Buffalo Soldiers. The 10th Cavalry was stationed in the largest military base in Texas, Fort Concho. Racial tensions were at an all-time high in America, and there was no exception to Texas. A heated altercation breaks out in town between the Ku Klux Klan and the Buffalo Soldiers. Gunfire was exchanged, and when the smoke cleared, understanding his fate, the first sergeant, Buffalo Soldier, Civil War veteran, George Goldsby, a.k.a. William Scott, vanished, leaving behind an indigenous wife of Cherokee heritage, Mrs. Ellen Lynch, and their son Crawford Goldsby, a.k.a. Cherokee Bill, born February the 8th, 1876, at Fort Concho in San Angelo, Texas, arguably the most famous Indian outlaw in the cowboy era. Handsome, ambitious, charismatic, ladies man with one of the quickest hands in the West. Raised in the ways of Cherokee warriors and Buffalo Soldier military genius, he was a superb shot from a distance and by horseback. His outlaw lifestyle was crossing paths with a Cherokee Indian who served as an ex-U.S. Marshal Scout, William Tuttle, a.k.a. the Cherokee Kid, Bill Cook, leader of the notorious Cook Gang. He and his brother Jim, Skeeter, Jess Snyder, William Ferris, Curtis Dayson, Elmer Lucas, a.k.a. Chicken, Jim French, George Sanders, Lon Gordon, Henry Munson, Sam McWilliams, a.k.a. Verdigris Kid, and Cherokee Bill. From petty crimes to bank and train robberies would lead lawmen and scouts on their trails. November the 9th, 1894, Cherokee Bill, trigger-happy ways, would go too far. During a store robbery, Bill executed Ernest Miller, an eyewitness to the stick-up. With hired Indian scouts and trackers, Cherokee criminal ways, popularity, and love from the community would keep him elusive. Laying low with family and female friends, his luck will come to an end. He was sentenced to be hanged by Judge Parker, March 17, 1896. At the age of 20, Bill approached the gallows. What a good day to die. Through the raging crowd, he spotted his mother. You ought to not be here. And his Cherokee mother replied, I go wherever you go. At 2:13 p.m., he dropped through the gallows. Crawford Goldsby, a.k.a. Cherokee Bill, Cherokee Cowboy, legend of the Wild Wild West.
I'm just here to make you think.
Shit crazy, bro.
Very informative, man. Hold on. Give me a second, bro. That got yeah. Q, it's a picture. I want you to show them. Hold on. Let me cut that off. I send it to you. Let me tell you the name of the picture so I can show you it. This one. Yeah. Now take a look at that picture. Whoever watching the IG, you can show them on the IG. And whoever watching the YouTube, look at that picture. Now we got Fredro Starr, Scottie Pippen, James Brown, Paul Mooney, Eddie Griffin, and Tommy Davidson. And as you can see, they got all the Aboriginal people next to them that look like them. Right. Look at the guy looking just like Fredro Starr, Aboriginal. That's who they started calling Indians or Native Americans.
For real.
Then look, you got the guy next to Scottie Pippen. Look just like Scottie Pippen. That's how we look. That's how the real natives look, or the cowboys look. Look at Eddie Griffin, the guy looking like Eddie Griffin, dressed as a cowboy. Or even James Brown. You see? Paul Mooney. So those are the Aboriginals. Those are the Indians, the real ones. We are the real ones, the real natives. The features and everything is still here. Like, don't be fooled by the red-faced ones that they show you, because that's the propaganda. It's another clip I want to show y'all. I'm gonna wait till the engineer come back in here and pull that clip up, but we could go into the next, like, talk about the women of the West. Woo!
Never talk about the women.
They don't never talk about the women of the West.
The women, man.
You feel me? Yeah, Riley, go ahead. Read that.
Mary Fields, legend Mary Fields, aka Stagecoach Mary, trailblazer. 1832, 1914. Mary Fields, or Stagecoach Mary, was the first African American woman and only the second woman overall to be a star route mail carrier in the United States. Born in slavery in Tennessee around 1832, she received her freedom at the end of Civil War after working on a variety of jobs. Mary took employment with a convict in Toledo.
In Toledo.
She grew very close to one nun sister. Amedius. And was saddened when the nun left for Judas mission in Montana. When Sister Amedius constructed pneumonia, Mary Fields rushed to Montana to care for her and stayed for 10 years with her mission. She started out doing general repairs, laundry, and other types of manual labor, and worked her way up to become the forest woman, standing 6 feet and around 200. Mary was an imposing figure and would not tolerate disrespect from anyone. She was forced to leave the convent. The coven after tensions boiled over. It led to a brawl with another woman on her team. In 1895, she became the second female mail carrier in the country. She was then in her 60s. Mary earned the nickname Stagecoach Mary for her reliability and bravery through all conditions in what was a very dangerous job. After she was retired from her Star Route contract, Mary settled in Cascade as its only African American resident. She was well known and popular in her city for the accurate shot, her cigar, her whiskey, her kindness, and her charity. Mary was the expectation to rules and social norms in Cascade. When a law was passed banning women from salons, the mayor granted Mary an exception, and as she didn't know her birth date, the town celebrated her birthday twice a year.
Facts.
Mary Fields, aka Stagecoach Mary.
Mary, word.
Sorry for the.
Did she play in
It's Tony Nevasoba. Sorry for
her character too, right?
but my brothers got my back.
Yeah, nah, we got you. You feel me?
I'm trying to take some pressure on my boy Walker. You know what I mean?
Feel me, word. Nah, Stagecoach Mary, she was, you feel me, one that they had in there, but they played her, depicted her a different way, made her look more submissive.
Yeah.
When she didn't take no shit, and then she wasn't skinny like that. You get what I'm saying? Like she was
200.
Yeah, 6 feet, 200 pounds.
She bigger than
lady.
me.
Yeah,
Big lady.
she ain't play no games. And then you saw they banned women from the bars, but made an exception for her.
Word.
And because she ain't know her birthday, they celebrated her birthday twice a year. So this is a black woman. She a trailblazer, meaning they basically followed the way she carried herself, the things she did. You get what I'm saying? Being a martyr in the community, everything, like just standing up for what she believed in.
Word.
And this was 1832 to 1914. She did this. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, then you got Elizabeth Thorne Scott Floods, educator and activist. Elizabeth Thorne was born free in 1828 in New York State, and she was educated in Massachusetts. She married Joseph Scott in 1852, and they moved to Northern California later that year. After Joseph died, Elizabeth and her son Oliver moved to Sacramento. At the time, Sacramento had a sizable African American community, but because of non-white children were barred from public schools, they were unable to receive an education. After her son was denied enrollment, Elizabeth used her own home to open up a school for minority children in 1854. Initially, Elizabeth School was only open to African American children, but shortly after it opened, she started accepting Asian American and Native American students as well. The Sacramento School Board assembled control over the school in 1855. Although they refused to commit public taxes revenue to it, Elizabeth continued to teach and become the first African American public school instructor in California. She retired from teaching after she married Isaac Flood and moved to Oakland. However, seeing the death of educational opportunities in Oakland for non-whites, Elizabeth once more opened a school in her house. Meanwhile, she and her husband founded the Shiloh AIM Church in the town of Oakland, first black church. The church led the way to the purchase of schoolhouses, where she taught until her expected death in 1867 at 39. You feel me? Her successful activism eventually led to schools integrating in Oakland, and Elizabeth's daughter, Lydia, was one of the first students at the newly integrated school. So you see, because of her putting this groundwork in for education and everything, now
this is way before Martin and all that.
Yeah, so
let's drink out the fountain together. Is way before.
Yeah, this way before that. And she saw that white kids, because they was at a lack and needed to learn, they wasn't trying to let black kids attend because we had
gonna go past them. They was gonna.
So she had to open up a school for Asian Americans, Native Americans, and black people. You feel me? In her house, and did this. And now the school picked up her curriculum of her, the way she was doing things and stuff.
Word.
So they follow her blueprint. You feel me? Like of being a school teacher or what it is. And this was Elizabeth Thorne Scott Flood, educator and activist.
Tap in.
Go ahead, Brody.
Let me read about
Go ahead.
Bridget.
Nah, this ain't history club. We just dropping some jewels.
Bridget Biddy Mason, real estate magnate and philanthropist, 1818 to 1891. Biddy Mason was born into slavery in 1818, but her exact birthplace is unknown. Like so many enslaved people, she was forcibly taken from her family and sold several times. Her final owner, Robert Smith, converted to Mormonism and moved his household, including Biddy, to California with a larger group of church members. California was a free state, and Biddy was legally free as soon as she entered the state. But her owner, Smith, kept her from learning of her rights to freedom for 5 years. Once she learned this, the petition the court for freedom for herself and her children. Despite the obstacles Smith set in place and the fact that she was not allowed to testify, she won her family's freedom and adopted the surname Mason. Mason settled in Los Angeles and worked as a nurse and a midwife. After saving money for a decade, she invested in real estate, becoming one of the first black female landowners in Los Angeles. Her wise investments made her a fortune and prominent citizen of the city, which she used to establish multiple charities, schools, daycares, and the first African American church in Los Angeles. She died in 1891 as one of the richest women in the city. That's facts, man. Shout out to the women, man.
You feel me? Biddy was out there handling her business. So you see, we calling motherfuckers, we calling women biddies and all that, and don't even know.
Crazy.
Biddy is a powerful name because Biddy was out here doing her 1-2.
She bought real estate in the 1800s. You kidding me?
What?
Late 1800s.
Like the late 1800s. Like,
I didn't even know real estate was going on.
And she died as one of the richest women in the city. You get what I'm
Shout out
saying?
to that family that just got the that beach location back in LA.
Oh yeah, the Black Beach that was originally theirs.
Yeah, they just got their rights back. Shout out to that grandson, that great grandson that fought.
That
for
went
his
back
family
and
to
forth.
get that
Word,
land
that's
back
what's
for
up.
them. Now they
Lit.
getting paid for people to come on.
Yeah, you want to read about Susie Summers?
Susie Summers.
Susie Summers. Caden. Know what I mean? Writer and editor. Born in 1870s in Mississippi, Susie Summer Revels was the daughter of the Reverend
Hiram.
You say it again?
Reverend Hiram. Yeah.
Hiram Rebels. Shit, that shit like levels. Rebels. The first elected African American to the United States Senate. She was named in honor of the family friend of the prominent
abolitionist.
Yeah, abolitionist.
Senator
Charles Sumner of Massachusetts in 1896 after graduating from college.
Revels,
aka Rebels. Married newspaper owner Horace Caden and moves west to join him in Seattle. Horace Clayton had founded the Seattle Republican newspaper in 1894, and Susie regularly contributed content and served as associate editor. The paper appealed to both white and black readers and eventually grew to be the second largest circulated paper in the city. The couple eventually became the only black family to live in the affluent Capitol Hill area of Seattle. Susie Clayton was also immensely involved in civil life. She was founded the Dorcas charity club. And she, Dorcas,
yeah, like a dork.
Dork, like Dorcas,
yeah,
charity club, and successfully organized boycotts for business that discriminated against African Americans. Unfortunately, as a racism intensified in the city, revenue for the paper dropped and forced the Claytons to close the paper in 1913 and sell their home. She continued her passionate
activism.
Damn, bro, I got them into her 60s and 70s when she joined the Communism Party late in her life. Clayton became friends with activist Paul Robeson and writer Langston Hughes, who dedicated his poem "Dear Mr. President" to her.
Word. So you see,
Langston Hughes.
No doubt. So you see Susie Summer Caton, you feel me? She was a writer and editor due to her husband, Horace Caton, founding the Republican newspaper. Now you heard that, Republican newspaper.
Republican.
And not Democrat.
Not Democratic. We don't even fuck with
Republican.
them,
he was black. And this newspaper was for African Americans. You get what I'm saying? So she made an impact just off her writing, and what she did, brought to the table, her charity work, like the club she opened and how much she was trying to stand up for the black.
Yes.
You feel me? And then she had Langston Hughes dedicate a poem to her.
That was deep
So
right there.
you gotta think that's
the president.
Yeah, facts. That's a prominent person.
Everybody don't know that Hughes was
Langston
president.
Hughes, yeah. So it's deep, like. So what we gonna do right here?
Too, right?
Yeah. So what we gonna do right here? We gonna take a quick break. You feel me? Little 10-minute break, and then we'll be back to finish this up with the women. Talk some more about the West. You know how we do. Nevasoba 365.
Tap in, man.
Make sure y'all tune back in.
It's still live on here. Yo, OG, where OG at?
I'm gonna tell him, man.
OG, pause that live.
You know, people be trying to tell me to do this, do that, and everything. And I be trying to tell them just sit back. Like I got this, you feel me? You in my world, you in my car, like, you feel me? I'm driving this vehicle. Like, me and my homies. Look.
My brimstone burning like the fire on my planet GG. If I don't know you, we can't keep. Like it or not, need to keep one in the head. That's that Bantu knot. Huh?
Legend, what up?
Look. My brimstone burning like the fire on my GG. If I don't know you, we can't keep. Like it or not, need to keep one in the head. That's that Bantu knot. Like that house over there, yeah, that been my spot. Hustling off the stoop, trying to do it B.I.G. Like give me the loot, and give me the loot. I'm war ready, don't make me send the troops. Come on, baby, I got that swag juice. Freaks on me and my crew like Uncle Luke. Cause they seen us in the club smoking it up like Uncle Snoop. Dancing to the tunes like Uncle June's. 10 50 girls in the whip heading to the room. I need 50 M's like Shady EP. Cause I'm trying to get rich before I D.I.E. I need 50 M's like Shady EP. Cause I'm trying to get rich before I D.I.E. I'm the one that's controlling this thing here. You just riding passenger side, so sit back in your chair as I put this thing in drive and I ride to the money like yeah. I'm the one that's controlling this thing here. You just riding passenger side, so sit back in your chair as I put this thing in drive and I ride to the money like yeah. I'm the one that's controlling this thing here. You just riding passenger side, so sit back in your chair as I put this thing in drive and I ride to the money like yeah. I'm the one that's controlling this thing. I'm the one that's controlling this thing. I'm the one that's controlling this thing. You just riding passenger side, so sit back in your chair. I'm the one that's controlling this thing. I'm the one that's controlling this thing. I'm the one that's controlling this thing. Controlling this thing. You just riding passenger side.
Yeah. Nigga, you just riding passenger side in our world. Feel me? So sit back.
Nevasoba 365 podcast.
I'm the one that's controlling this thing here. You just riding passenger side, so sit back in your chair as I put this thing in drive and I ride to the money like yeah.
E-man, what up?
I'm the one that's controlling this thing here. You just riding passenger side, so sit back in your chair as I put this thing in drive and I ride to the money like yeah.
Love you too, bro. You already know.
Damn. Hold on.
I gotta bring you up here.
Hold on.
Nevasoba 365.
Damn.
Tap in.
Damn. Yo, I'm in such a good mood.
What up, guys?
You know, for the love of hip hop, for the love of music, I had so much shit in store to play. You feel me and everything.
Word.
That you ain't show up, so I had wanted to play this. I think I just might as well just let him.
Oh.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, it's Nevasoba 365, so we do things my way,
man.
Our way, the highway.
Yes,
you
sir.
feel me? You can see us. We going to the top, nigga.
OPMB,
you can
man.
See it. The whole PM, the whole Eastwick, the whole New Jersey. We got this
that
shit.
Eddie Rock feel, man.
Look.
Put the game in a frenzy, niggas can't fuck with me. Picture me rolling like Pac in the front seat. I'm popping like bubbly, bottle service, bring more to me. Rolling my butt in the club like fuck with the owner be. I'm too hot, niggas ain't cold as me. Ain't no limit, I'm a soldier B. If I sold you tree, then I thank you for copping with me. Snap my drink, I pop eyes when I pop out on the scene. My PCD still angel to me. That's the only thing promised, not even tomorrow. Drowning my sorrows in Hennessy. Thug like thug passion, Alizé and fat asses. Spin the bin in the act, so act right. I give her that act right, and she act nice. Still hit the trash spot. In the dark night, my heart like no man I fear. Understand me clear, I plan to persevere. Ascend to a higher altitude. Never let a dummy make me out of fool. Hunger pains in my stomach, need more than food. Just when you think I'm done, I got more to do. I got more to do.
Y'all niggas need to stop it. Me and mine's been about the profit. Failure not an option. Who don't know the gang? We been a hot topics. Moving like custodians. Move with the mop sits. Huh? Weather the storm. Been a real nigga since I was born. Could swing your horn. Aiming for 3. Look at the form. The mom. I will not stop till we all on. The song. No matter what, we gotta hold on. Talk so cheap. Arrogate ass, wanna bespeak. Fuck being discreet. Learn and practice what you preach. We never lease. Ownership is our reach. We never lease. Ownership is our reach. Nigga. Huh? Yeah. You can see it. You can see it. We definitely gotta work, bro.
Damn, Brody. Yo, I told you.
That's that work, man.
I had some shit.
Hey, man, I'm gonna bring you through, man.
Oh, it ain't over.
Oh, it ain't over?
It's crazy.
It ain't over.
Thank you, Star. Oh.
Damn.
This what you doing?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know I'm feeling real wavy, real loose.
Word.
Cause I be doing.
Okay.
I roll me a bone and gelato. Niggas is not on my level, so stop it. The profit is tumbling in. I'm properly motivated, popping and elevated, cracking the jaw of any nigga that's really hating. Take a tour through my city, I'm really famous. I've been in your hood and you really nameless. Moment of silence. Thou shalt not let a fuckboy get no way here. So address me according like Kashmir. Don't come to me talking about last year. My mind ain't the same as back then. Get your head in the game or that's it. Whatever you claim, I don't care. You never will do what I did in this life. My niggas, not love them for life. And you definitely can't do what we did in this life. The discipline and power, this code of honor. Make you never fold for your honor. Shine, roller sky, I'ma tell them bring the drama. I'ma send them back, I'm gonna go effect. We got planes to catch, we got plain respect. I handle my business, handle it firm. Double cup, fills to the rim. Gelato, let it burn. I handle my business, handle it firm. Double cup, fills to the rim. Gelato on burn. Smoking gelato.
Hoping it's goes to my bottom. Steaming but dreaming. Hoping I rose from the bottom.
Yeah, I hate getting that call.
One of the homies got shot at. Bitch, I may get it. I went out showing I got it. Went on the road and I got it. The rollie is gold. I used to rock on my bottle. I had some coke in my bottle. I'm talking way before last time. I'm getting higher than ash now. I got this shit in the padlock. Bitch, I'm still ducking the mallet. My auntie still fucking with crack rock. I'm still faking this bottle. Me, I'm still facing gelato. Me, I'm still facing gelato.
High in space.
I drop a 4. I need a raise. I need a house. I need a lake.
What up?
Heard you a mouse.
You be with snakes. I cannot cool with the fake.
I cannot cool with the fake.
Check red holes in your face. Check red holes in your face. That is a holy disgrace.
Molly.
I'm still a goat.
Molly.
Bitch, I'm still a great.
PMB, we still in game.
Yeah.
I handle my business, handle it firm. Double cup, filled to the rim. Gelato on burn. I handle my business, handle it firm. Double cup, filled to the rim. Gelato on burn.
Fuck up the airwaves,
Oh
man.
yeah. Yo, yeah, nigga.
Yes, sir.
You feel me? So I had shit in the cut for us for, you know.
Yes, sir.
So, yo, so far we've been learning about the cowboys of the West, black, what they've been doing, rodeo, gunslinging, outlaws, millionaires, the women,
philanthropists.
You feel me?
Shout out to the women, man.
Education. I talked about, I was gonna show y'all a clip about Sammy Davis Jr. Matter of fact, you could pull that clip of Sammy Davis Jr. up, showing his gun skills and stuff, how he was real cowboy, to show y'all like, this was prominent, this was something that we look forward to in our days way back then of being black people or being people of this land. This is things that we was doing before they came, because most of the people who herded cows and buffaloes and or anything you could think of that was wild in nature over here was either surface melanated, Mexicans, or Native Americans, Asians mixed in with us. Spanish people, you get what I'm saying, as well, because we the only ones who knew how to do that type of stuff from where we was from. As to where white people, Caucasians,
coming over from Europe, they brought a lot of diseases over here. So that's what killed a lot of the, the people off over here.
Right.
The diseases that was
killed
brought.
a lot of the farms.
Yeah, it killed a lot of the crops. Everything, because they had to leave from Europe because of their diseases was too strong too. You feel me? The Black
They
Plague.
got the plague from.
And yeah,
Black
and then
plague, that shit was in Europe.
Now look, you wanna know what's crazy? In the 1500s, we wasn't experiencing no ice age over here in America and all of that stuff. In the 1500s, in Europe and all that, they was going through an ice age, experiencing snow, cold climate, and snowing a lot over there and everything. So they definitely needed to find somewhere where they could keep warm, not get sick, because after that cold was over, now you had mad people that was sick.
True.
People had syphilis, all types of stuff. And this didn't come by the way of having sex. A lot of them just came from they not being clean or not having access to the proper herbs and remedies that we have. Or you get what I'm saying? So they was messed up and they brought their infections over here. Like a lot of the infections that came to these shores of North America, South Central, as well as the islands, we had none of them infections or knew anything about those type of infections. Like we knew about what was indigenous to our land, like the infections that we went through or the animals and stuff that we dealt with on our land. Cause horses got brought over here by Europeans. Like horses wasn't always over here, but buffaloes always been over here. Buffaloes is aboriginal to this land. This is where buffaloes come from. They come from America. Nowhere else. You get what I'm saying? So when you find buffaloes other places in the world, they brought those buffaloes.
They brought them over.
Yeah.
That's why I was buffalo
That's
soldiers.
why ain't none out here. You barely see any more out here.
Yeah, facts.
If you do.
And then think about what it. At the time, Buffalo, New York, when we spoke the Latin language, it was called Hortus. You feel me? Hortus, New York. So Hortus, up in Hortus is where all the buffaloes was or are. You get what I'm saying? Still is. They in between Michigan, South Dakota, all that area, New York, Canada, the buffaloes roam in that area. You feel me? So that's another way you can see like how we've been here in this land and things that we've been doing. Now you can show this clip of Sammy Davis Jr.
As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy wrapped up in white rain.
Shucks, I wouldn't put it on unless I was good at it. You see, single action means like, unless you have the modern revolver, they can fire this way, by just pressing the trigger. With the old-fashioned Western gun, you had to cock the gun first and then fire. So that, in essence, when you go for the fast draw, the gun is actually cocked while it's in the holster, like so. See, it's cocked here. You pull out and then fire. Of course, you must be careful that when you do this, you don't do that. Well, you'll find out immediately why Chester walks with a limp.
There are 3 simple changes I tell all of my arthritis patients.
He wasn't only known for the shaboing boing. You can pause that. He wasn't only known for the shaboing boing because Sammy Davis Jr., you know, he did a lot of stuff like cowboy. That was one of his main things. Like growing up, he always wanted to be like what he saw his father or the old westerns that he knew or the people that he knew from the West or from working on farms when he was younger. And a lot of black people worked on farms, plantations, as they called them back then. But this way people
farmers.
Yeah. And this way a lot of people don't realize.
Growing shit.
This way people don't realize, right? People don't realize that they still never left the plantation. If you work at a warehouse or somewhere, what is it called?
A plant.
Yeah.
Plant.
You feel me?
For plantations.
And it's got nuclear plants.
Yeah. You got nuclear plants, chemical plants. You get what I'm saying?
Plants.
Yeah. So you still work the plantation.
Word.
It's where something the majority of this is getting produced at. Like
Facts.
whatever it is you producing.
True.
Everybody worked the plantation. Even the people that was picking cotton, they got picked up. They didn't get beat into work. They got picked up to work at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and had to work from 4 to probably 5 in the afternoon. But the pay was little of how much they was getting paid. That's what made it feel like slavery.
Word.
You get what I'm saying?
That shit like right now. I go to work. That's slavery. Like what you talking about? They don't pay me enough.
Yeah, it's servitude. Yeah,
like feel me?
It's servitude.
They paying me enough to picking this cotton all fucking day in the sun.
Yeah,
nah, that's true.
Y'all tighten me up.
Now you can see how the West came about, because even in old cartoons they show you, like for instance, remember the cartoon Fievel Goes West?
Nah.
With the little mouse. Remember at first it was Fievel Comes to America. And Fievel Comes to America, it's about the mouse and his family coming to America to escape seeing the cats who had the Moorish tassels on their head.
They had the temple hats on.
To get over here and see that there's more cats over here. That's only talking about white people seeing black people
like,
over there, and to try to get away from them, to get over here to see more black people.
Word.
That's the cats, what the cats represent. You get what I'm saying?
Crazy, yeah.
So now Fievel and them in the next one, they try to leave America, leave from the East Coast, New York and all of that shit, you feel me? Because they was Jewish as well as that too, the mouse.
Word.
But Fievel also always wanted to be like a cowboy. So now Fievel goes west. When they get to the West, they thinking they not gonna see no cats over there, and they see cats over there like Indians and cowboys and shit. You feel me?
Word. That's deep, bro.
You feel me?
Word.
And now,
what's that phrase? Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
Like
we could fight like cowboys and Indians.
Fact.
You feel me?
That shit was crazy.
And you think about that, the Buffalo Soldiers went to war with the Indians and the Ku Klux Klan.
Word.
So already right there, Buffalo Soldiers was a form of cowboys. You get what I'm saying?
True.
And then you had the Indians who knew that they was getting brainwashed at that moment. Like, yo, we the same. We can tell that y'all not realizing or remembering that we the same. And then the whole era of Indians riding on horses, that came later after the Civil War and all that, when they got the horses.
Word.
So we got to think before Europeans
They came over here with the motherfuckers.
Yeah.
After they died, Let me see what this is.
Yeah, you feel me? We already riding buffaloes and deers and moose and shit like that over here.
Nah, word.
We used to bears.
Cause I remember, not to cut you off, bro, I remember seeing a old picture back in the day, but it was like two black people riding lions, bro.
Yeah.
Like they was on lions, like, you feel me?
Yeah, over here.
Yeah, fact.
Yeah. That's another thing. They when you go start studying nature and everything, they tell you that the American lion is way bigger than the African lion. They tell you that the American the bear, for instance, right? It's no other creature in the world that can match with the bear. Intelligence and how big the bear is and how strong it is. And you only find grizzly bears over here.
Word.
Yeah, they really know it.
You only and polar bears you only find where it's ice at.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? You can't take a polar bear out of their cold climate and bring them to the wilderness and think they're gonna adapt.
True.
They not. You get what I'm saying? They'd die fast.
Cause they adapted over there, so they can't.
As to where a grizzly bear, you can take him over there.
Yeah, cause they gonna adapt to over there. They gonna start turning white, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So that's how you know what was original.
Word.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
facts, though. That's facts.
You know what's original by just the nature of things, where they from and where it belong at, and the climates it can survive and how it can survive. Like us, we could adapt anywhere.
That's facts.
The animals too, that's natural, can adapt anywhere.
Facts.
Feel me? Like, so it's
deep, bro.
So we've been dealing with all of these type of species, these animals over here, before they knew about it over there. Like we built pyramids and stuff all the way from the up here, going all the way down to South America. Mexico got step pyramids.
Word.
Illinois got the mound pyramids. Down in Peru and all of that, They got step pyramids, the mound pyramids, big ass coliseums, all of that shit. You feel me?
That's facts.
Like, then just right in Memphis, Tennessee, we got a big ass pyramid with the statue of Ramsey standing outside the pyramid as well.
Cover it up, right? They
Yeah.
got chandeliers on it and shit, like make it look fake.
Yeah. Like, remember I
That
told
shit a real pyramid.
you that in the Moorish history, they said that the first making of the creation of the Caucasian or the pale man, it started in a place called Patagonia. They try to tell you that Patagonia is on the other side of the world now, but however, Patagonia still exists. Patagonia is a lake, an area in Arizona. You feel me? Lake Patagonia.
Yeah, I heard
You feel me? That's right outside of that's Mexico, right over the mountain wall is Mexico.
Word.
So at this lake, Lake Patagonia, you get there, you see nothing but white people there. Now, when I went there, I seen nothing but white people there, no black people there. And me knowing the history of things and how they said it, white people got created in Mexico. So the next morning, I look on the news and they talking about Lake Patagonia and they talking about how white people going missing over there. Now, there's two streets that's next to Lake Patagonia is Azteca and Yacubi. Yakub or Yakubi. Yakub is supposed to be the big head scientist, one of the subplanters that helped. That helped make them. And the Aztec, we know that's the Indians. You feel me? The Mexican ones from over there, or us, the Aztecs, who was also into sacrificing and creation and all of that stuff too as well. So it's no coincidence they would put these two streets by a place where they said that they was first created in Mexico. And so now when we look at the war that took place, how the West was won, you got to Mexico was bigger than what it's shown on the map because it ranged all the way to California and to Vegas and all of that stuff.
True.
You get what you did. And the United States, the whole area of the states that made up the United States was smaller. So when they start going to war and conquering shit, they start moving into Mexican territory, which was the other different type of people of us. They went to war, they lost the shit, you feel me? So this is how the United States was able to conquer more of it.
Take over that word.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? They lost because of infiltration that was going on amongst the people in there that was helping the United States.
He was working it.
Yeah, because 1812 was the biggest war that, it was a little war because due to how much people was killed, but it was a big war because of the impact it had. While that war was going on, it was two wars going on. Over in France and Britain, you had Napoleon going to war in 1812. Then you had other people going to war with Africa and all of that stuff and everything. Then over here, you had
right after 1804 and all
that. Then you got people going to war and right in Mexico and all of that in 1812, down in Peru in 1812. Over here, you feel me, up here, New York, New Jersey, all that 1812 wars going on. It was a world war. That's the true definition of world war when it's happening all over the place. And there's no way you escaping war.
Go nowhere.
You feel me?
It's war.
Yeah, it's war.
Oh, we trying to go down south, man. They wild.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Where to go?
So is that like how World War I came into play and all that?
All the wars came into play through wars that was already going on. Like over here, we had so many Punic wars. Punic wars took place in Africa, over there, Africa, all of that. And then we had wars over here, tribal wars, the Indian wars before they came. You get what I'm saying? And then when they came, the Europeans and Britons and all of that shit that was black and white, you feel me, came. We going to war with their ass. That's another Indian and British war. Then now it became the Indians, the Aboriginals or the natives of the land and all of this shit teaming up with the people that came from Britain to go against the other motherfuckers from Britain to make the United States and go against Canada.
That's why we got all these fake rule. That's why they call it baby Europe.
Yeah.
They laws, they laws, like everything they do.
Yeah, we got tricked.
Following.
We got tricked in the shit. You feel me? We definitely got tricked. You could go to that clip to the 1,000 years of black people.
Turn my screen.
Black people in America 1,000 years before Columbus.
And who is this nigga Columbus, man?
Columbus, they say it was a coded word for the ship that they was getting on.
Colombo.
Mm-hmm.
Colombo ship.
Yo,
What up, big homie?
and this is stuff that you won't. A lot of people won't give you all of this stuff.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, stay.
Hey, yo, what up, big bro?
Like I said, yo, the women was millionaires in the 1800s. Black women was millionaires in the 1800s.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel.
Yeah, you can subscribe to that channel. See, YouTube is a good tool depending on how you use it and the things that you watch. Everything can be utilized good, depending on how you use it.
Black Native Americans have been all but ignored in this country. We have been written out of the history books, and it is as if we never existed in the first place. The truth is, this country was filled with many all-black so-called Indian Native American tribes. This country was filled with so-called black Indians, true Native Americans. One area of note is California. The true history of California blacks is a powerful story, one that should be studied and remembered. I urge you to please do your research, and you will be surprised by the majestic history of our people here in this country.
They were California blacks, or Califians, also referred to as Califians, spelt with a KH. The California blacks were one of the largest and oldest native nations in the Americas. They were the people Europeans originally referred to as the Red Man.
One account of what it was really like in California comes from the writing of historian Robert Beverly from the 1700s. He writes, "Far and away the most beautiful city on earth, 5 times the size of London or Rome. Great towers and buildings rising from the water. 60,000 gleaming houses. How spacious and well built they were, of beautiful stonework and cedar wood and wood of other sweet scented trees. Many streets and boulevards were so neat and well swept despite the multitude of inhabitants, crisscrossed with a complete network of channels like an enormous Venice, but also remarkable floating gardens that remain from nowhere else on earth." So you see, black Native Americans not only lived here, but we thrived here. And we thrived for thousands of years before Columbus. As a matter of fact, blacks were in this country even before the birth of the Savior, before Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach.
We was in America before the story of Jesus and all
California Native American identity. The original indigenous inhabitants of California were the descendants of West Africa, South America's Olmeca Zai Empire, 1500 to 400 BCE, Egypt, Asia, and the Pacific Islands, creating a mixed cultural nation that thrived for thousands of years in peace.
The following is what an exhibition of European explorers actually found upon their arrival in North America. There were huge aqueducts transported America's water from fresh springs. But what impressed most were special merchant areas filled with timber and tile and other building materials being bought and sold. There were green grocers, streets where everyone could buy every sort of vegetable, fruit, honey, and chocolate. Astonished by personal cleanliness and hygiene of the colorfully dressed people, and by their extravagant use of soaps, deodorant, and breath sweeteners. According to Beverly, there were nations that were scientifically advanced. They were highly civilized populations with an abundance of gold and wealth, whose history spanned thousands of years. Ancient America was notably one of the most advanced civilizations in antiquity.
They stripped us from all of that we had.
This was
Look at these
before
people.
Christ, before the Spaniards, before Mexicans, before the Clovis people who crossed the Bering Straits, before what is now known as the Native American Indian or Euro conversions. No European who had tasted the life of Indians can afterwards not bear to live in any other society. Benjamin Franklin. Franklin also wrote, "There is no force in Indian societies, no prisons, no officers to inflict punishment." Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin wrote that, aka Benjamin Banneker.
You see, we weren't all born on ships called Jesus, Liberty, Grace, Justice, or Mercy. Our ancestors were already here, natives to this land, long before Columbus.
Weren't born on ships called Jesus.
Black people are indigenous to America.
Gigantic stone heads in central Mexico. The Olmec civilization was the first significant civilization in Mesoamerica deemed Mother Culture of Mexico by some historians. This civilization, dominated by Africans, is best known for the colossal carved heads in central Mexico that served as even more evidence that Africans sailed to the New World before Columbus. The heads are clearly crafted in the likeness of Africans.
Mexico to be a part of that, but they like, nah, we ain't getting into that.
The same civilization that created these giant heads was also responsible for introducing written language, arts, sophisticated astronomy, and mathematics to a Mesoamerican civilization, ancient African historian Professor Ivan van Sertima explained.
In Europe, in China, like all over.
We do want to point out that there is evidence of other races in the Americas prior to the arrival of Columbus. There were Asians, Pacific Islanders, and there's even evidence of Europeans before Columbus. But the landscape was definitely dominated by the black people, the black Native Americans.
You see? So remember, Rufus Buck gang was mixed of Mexicans, Asians, and Native Americans. You feel me? And
all the people that was over here.
And the blacks that was
Many
here
black people in this country have been told that we have so-called Indian blood. I know that I have, and many, many others have the same experience. Well, chances are it's the truth. When you look at the characteristics that many of us have with the high cheekbones, etc., there's a good possibility that more than we know that we are Native Americans.
See? Now those the cowboys that just coming off this time. Like it's no different, no separation at that time of them. You see what I'm saying? Cowboy wife probably would have looked like that. Look,
While we
these
know
things from back then.
that many of our ancestors did come in on slave ships, however, we know that there is proof that millions upon millions of our ancestors were here before Columbus, before the transatlantic slave trade.
And that's what y'all gotta understand.
So yes, folks, there is overwhelming evidence that suggests that the first Americans were actually black people.
Yeah, they didn't start bringing African women over here to
There is archaeological evidence, there's written evidence, and there's oral evidence,
1700s, they got people going on that's over here already.
which proves that black people are the first Americans.
In the world, like
The Black Excellence and Abundance Channel, where black history is every day.
wow, bigger than Europe and London.
Thanks for watching. As always, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, thou art rich.
Tap in, man. Episode 365 now.
Yes, sir. Man, so you see that, like, we gotta understand with this whole Indian, this whole cowboy thing, everything, like, we've been the ones that been doing all of this stuff. Who they talking about? There's no separation of these people just because they give you titles and names. That's why I always said I don't like titles, because titles make people forget or feel empowered to do things. You get what I'm saying? Like,
You closed in.
Yeah.
Your mind just closed. Like, all right, this is it. That's it.
You get what I'm saying? Because, like, when you get a title boss, you get what I'm saying? It make a person feel like they got some special privileges, they have some power. When that's just something you formulating inside yourself. You get what I'm saying? That's off of self-achievement. Cause you made it, so you feel like, yeah.
I could take care of my family. I'm the boss.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? When you don't have to brag about it or project it that way or put people down
Put a name on it.
Yeah, or
stigma.
Step on somebody to make them feel like they basically nothing or they not at your level and everything. If you so much of a leader or a teacher, everything, then you want to raise people up to your level.
Facts.
And as well as the person being a teacher, you always want to remain a student as well too.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm still a student as well as me teaching what I'm learning, you feel me? So my niggas, for everybody could become a teacher, student, all of that. So it's nothing wrong with that. You gotta learn and teach and be able to teach one. Fact.
That's true, bro.
Now you know what the problem, what happened in history a lot was that when they made mistakes on people records or accounts or the things that they was doing, they didn't go back and fix it and change it.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
I fucked up this time, but
yeah,
we gonna get it right.
And then other ones they just wanted to degrade because they didn't want you to know.
They don't want you to know your true self.
Yeah, exactly.
What you capable of,
That's
where you come from.
So how they change history and
they just change it.
Put their faces on shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And think about this, right? If they saying that we was thriving and we created all this stuff already, and the only idea that Europeans had to come up with was the patent office. They came up with the patent office, so that way now they could pay 5 cents, 25 cents, whatever it is, if somebody came up with an invention, whether they was white, black, whatever. If you ain't got the money to pay for it, and I beat your ass to the patent office.
Yeah, that's what the Thunderbirds, the Rockefellers and all them, they was all stealing his patents and all that.
Yeah.
Shit. Like Ford and all them. Yeah, they lit with that.
Word.
That shit to get deep. We gonna talk
Speaking
about
of
that.
Ford, man, he wasn't even the person to create cars.
Yeah.
He only got the credit for the manufacturer of it, like the assembly line. Like, but
Exactly.
he ain't come out with the car. Like, it was a dude named Patterson or something, right? Yeah. Like, come on,
Just
man.
like McDonald's. McDonald's wasn't who it was. It was two brothers. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, two brothers, two black ones, and then they had white ones that was doing it, but they went with the white ones' idea, but they ended up still getting it stole from them.
Word.
You get what I'm saying? So they was doing that. So you said we're gonna get into these. We got 2 women left to talk about.
Abby Fisher.
Yeah,
I'm against her. All right, Abby Fisher, cookbook author. It says she was born 1831, but I don't know if she passed away. But born enslaved in South Carolina to an African American mother and a white farmer, Abby grew up and eventually worked as a cook in the kitchen. She married Alexander Fisher around 1859, and together they had 11 children. The family moved to San Francisco, California in 1877, looking for economic opportunity. There she opened her own immensely successful catering business called Miss Abby Fisher and Company and won awards for her cooking. Abby's Southern Cooking was the toast of San Francisco society, and she became only the second African-American female cookbook author in America in 1881 when she published What Miss Fisher Knows About Old Southern Cooking, Soups, Pickles, Preserves. She was illiterate, so she preserves. Hold up. So she was illiterate, so she dictated her recipes and anecdotes. Containing 160 recipes, the book is a treasure trove of Southern cooking for historians and was reprinted in 1995. Fisher's cookbook can still be purchased on Amazon Kindle today.
Now you see that shit?
That's crazy.
They don't even got a picture of her up here. You can show the people on the screen like.
Word.
They don't even got a picture of Fisher up here. Just got her cookbook.
Somebody help us out. Somebody help us track down Miss Fisher.
They just got her cookbook up here. Don't even got a picture of her. You get what I'm saying?
They still use her cookbook till this day. They
Yeah.
redid it in 95.
Shout out to Miss Abby, man.
Yeah, Miss Abby Fisher. 1831, they using her remedies, her cooking.
160 recipes.
Like, so you know that's where the school got their whole makeup from, things and everything. Like,
spices, culinary schools. That's what KFC probably got his recipe from.
The Colonel,
Colonel.
Look where he was at. He was Colonel. Dealing with the Civil War time and all of that stuff. You feel me? Like he was cooking in the war. That's supposedly.
We be joking and say, yo, somebody black behind there.
Yeah,
it is. Like probably not literally, but
facts.
You want to get into Miss Mary Elaine? Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen Pleasant, millionaire and abolitionist, 1814 to 1904. Very little is known about Pleasant's young life and parentage, but she was raised in Nantucket as worked a domestic servant for a white ambitionist family. She was light-skinned and on some occasions passed herself as white. Through this family, Mary Ellen became involved in the ambitionist movement and worked with the Underground Railroad. She married another ambitionist, James Smith, and gained a substantial inheritance after he died 4 years later. In 1849, she remarried and moved to San Francisco. Pleasant started a restaurant that catered to wealthy businessmen in the city, and she would, let me see. In 1849, she remarried. All right, hold on, let me read that over. In 1849, she remarried and moved to San Francisco. Pleasant started a restaurant that catered to wealthy businessmen in the city, and she will often eavesdrop on these men to pick up investment tips and financial gossip. These bits of information came in handy. Pleasant was able to use them to make a fortune in investments. She used her money and influence to assist African Americans who made it to San Francisco through the Underground Railroad, and later she successfully fought against racial segregation in California through a series of lawsuits. She also gave militant ambitionist John Brown $30,000 to support his raid on Harper's Ferry in 1859. She eventually began a decade-long business partnership with Thomas Bell, and for unknown reasons, much of her portfolio was in his name. After his death in 1892, Bell's widow and son sued Pleasant for control of her vast.
And then right there say vast fortune. Then
yeah. Let me see. Bell, widow, and son sued Pleasant for control of her vast fortune. They successfully painted her as a scheming mammy in the press, and she lost her fortune. In 1901, she dictated her autobiography, The Making of Mammy Pleasant, a black entrepreneur in 19th century San Francisco, and she passed away in 1904 as one of San Francisco's most famous residents.
They just took. You saw that?
Word.
They did Mary dirty, yo.
Oh, somebody say they found a picture of Abby Fisher.
Word.
Found a picture.
Star Nicole. What's good? Oh, they got a picture of Abby Fisher.
Got a picture of Abby Fisher. Yes.
Tap in.
Send that all around so people can see it.
Word up.
Like, but damn, you see how they skunked Mary? Like they did Mary dirty. Like they did Mary dirty. So before I give my in closing remarks on things, I just wanted to show, the things that we good at and the painting that they had of us, wrestling balls. That's what we did and everything. Then, and on the back here, you can see where they was taking the taking the mat and everything, where everything at, where they started building stuff, placing stuff at, what they was doing, what they was trying to make. Everything. This would be something good to have for your kids to look at and everything to see what's going on. So if you ever need this package, hit us up. Nevasoba 365.
Yes, sir.
We got you. We can get you the package and stuff. So I'm gonna give my in closing remarks, because you see that we got to see that over here in this land, we just as great as any other place on the world, and they want to detach the people over here of who we truly are and what it means to be us. You get what I'm saying? Like, they don't want us to know our true identity. They want everybody to think that they came from Africa. They want us to
think that everybody was slaves.
Yeah.
Word.
We couldn't read.
Yeah, we couldn't read. We couldn't write. Women wasn't doing this. Like they wasn't tough.
Yeah, like all that. Well, we had women had to fight to vote. Boy, women was lit already before all that.
They knew black women was able to vote before white women. Black women was able to vote before white women
and black men. The only people that was able to vote was black women and white men. Word. You feel me? Black men and white women could not vote. So you see that? They knew the power in the black woman already. And as far as the man, they knew we only gonna go do whatever the woman tell us to do. Facts. So if you let her be free, you get what I'm saying? But lock us down, you get what I'm saying? We gonna follow her, but still not knowing that they got bullshit going on. So, you know, they was trying to erase our history, our identity, everything, who we are, what we did. So even with this movie, The Harder They Fall, look how they still fabricated something. This was produced by people of our race and everything, of our cultures, all that, and they still fabricated instead of giving the real. Telling the real, showing why.
It'd have been more dope.
Yeah, showing Rufus Buck going through all of that and then dying and all that, and we would got to understand like, all right, we see why he was doing what he was doing, and him dying before what he was doing, we would have been able to understand like, all right, yeah, he kind of was tripping, like, you feel me, like, you get what I'm saying? Then other ones who wasn't tripping, who was just rodeos, heroes, putting on shows, wrestling cows and animals.
Like he was tripping and doing the raping. And,
you get what I'm saying?
Robbing and shit. He wasn't robbing and doing none of that.
Yeah. So I like to end close by saying, our mystery doesn't belong in one place, environment, culture, or ideology. The existence of our uniqueness is everywhere, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, from sunup to sundown, from sea to shining sea. Always remember the beauty in front of your eyes and underneath your feet. Nevasoba 365. You know the vibes. Yes, sir. Tap in Sunday. We'll be back. We're doing the Nevasoba recap of the episodes because we're doing the Thanksgiving break after that. You feel me? And we coming back with season 2 of Nevasoba 365. Shout out to this everybody. is season 1, 9 episodes. And I want to say thank y'all all for tuning in with us. Yes, sir. You feel me?
Go subscribe.
Open Google Maps
Because
to
you know how it go.
area.
Like, you feel me? I got to leave
You
y'all
can
with
see
this.
what's nearby with local
I got to leave everybody with this. Because y'all are my friends. You feel me? All of y'all. We love y'all. Y'all know the vibes. It's that house Never music Sober right 365. We out of here. Yes, sir. Love, live life. Always shine bright. We're going to see y'all Sunday. And then after that, we go on Thanksgiving break. You feel me? We'll be back after the break. So get ready, because season 2, we turning up. Yes, sir. With the businesses, all of that. Let's eat and fly with the locals. Sarah said she sends you the picture of Abby Fisher. Facts. Oh, I bet. Yes, sir. Good looking out. Appreciate it. It's that Sunday house music right here. You feel me? It's all out Saturday Friday. morning. We going out with a bang. We love y'all. Free all the guys, man. You feel me? Always. Remember.
Free all the guys.
Yeah. And we out. Yes, sir. Remember to get your dumb merch. Hit us up for the dumb merch. You know the vibes. We got it. Nevasoba 365 food is coming too. So stay tuned. We in here. Lit.